Hey, look at that. I got a microphone. We can hear things. Can we?
Here,
there you go.
Oh, there I am.
Now you're on.
Well, I could hear you, and then I was just like muffled, like me.
What? Okay. All right. I got notes and all that. All right, let's see. Yep. It says stream is starting. All right. I think we're good here. All right. Let me get my notes up, and then we'll get started. Yep. I got the thing that we're. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
How are you?
Peoples.
Oh, yep, there we go. They just updated. Yep. Okay, well, I got it. Got the new notes.
Yeah.
Make sure we got the... There we go. That's working.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see. Oh, I don't have the old one in here. You know, we'll just go with the... Shoot, I've got the original. I can do the original. Okay, I got it. So we can do that, and we can run that. Run with that.
Alrighty.
Okay, and let's see. I think we're all set with everything else. Camera's good. All right, I can see you. You can see me, and oh, I'm missing the thing over on this one. Hang on. There we go. That's better. Now I got it. Okay.
Perfect.
Perfecto. Okay.
Ooh.
Here we go. Bringing it down.
Expecto Patronum!
You'll be hearing from us.
From the Strategic Homeland and
Just call us
My
Shield.
user has information that could make this a free system again.
Smash. And here we go.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are live right now, and if you're listening on iTunes later, we are not live. But I just thought I'd inform you. We are here. It is episode number 50, the big 5-0 of the Geek Show. My name is BJ, and with me, as usual, behind the board, the Big Rich.
Does this mean we're a middle-aged podcast now?
Yes, we are. Yes,
Oh.
we're going to need to buy a little red car.
I don't know if I can afford that, but all right.
All right, fine. We'll stick with the cars we have.
All right,
which
why
are
not?
economical family vehicles.
Yeah.
Which is middle-aged.
Yeah, it is.
Fine.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to Geek Show. We've actually made it to 50 episodes, and remember, you can find us. We actually have a new Twitter account now.
Yes.
Geek Show Radio.
Right.
Because we're branching out.
Yes, find us there.
Yes. And should we make the announcement? Should we say?
Yeah.
All right. So here's the other part too. We've kind of hinted at this earlier before, but now we can say this for certainty.
Yep.
You will start to see episodes of the Geek Show on the iHeartRadio app.
Yes, sir.
We will be on iHeartRadio app, and you will also be able to. Do we want to tell them the radio station, the other radio station that they can find?
You'll be able to hear part of it too. I believe Pix106.com here locally in Albany.
Yes.
But easy to search for us right on the iHeartRadio app.
Yep.
And that'll be up there shortly. So
Yeah.
you'll be able to hear this episode on there.
Yes, definitely be able to hear this episode, and we'll also have a couple of older episodes if you want to, if you catch up. If you're brand new to listening to this,
Yeah.
thank you. This is our inaugural episode for iHeart. So, and we've got a lot of cool stuff. If you don't know what the podcast is about, if you're listening for the very first time, I feel like this is episode 1 again.
Well, yeah, because we're reintroducing ourselves to anybody who's finding us on iHeartRadio. I mean, it's a podcast that's about everything that you can think of in geek culture.
We are very Geek Entertainment centric when it comes to that stuff.
So we're talking movies, we're talking TV.
Yeah.
We talk a little bit about comic book news.
Yep. Sometimes video games we
some
talk
video game
about.
stuff.
And I mean, obviously, you can find us on all the usual suspects for social media. We're on Facebook, and we just launched a new Geek Show Radio page on Facebook, because we were on also another station, which we're not going to mention right now because it's all about iHeart today. iHeart's getting all the glove today. So, but still, you can find Geek Show Radio. That's what you want to look for on Facebook. Also on Twitter now, Geek Show Radio. And who knows, we maybe even have our own YouTube page at some point. Yeah, we'll probably set something like that up. But yeah, if you do a search for Geek Show, you'll pretty much find us. Yeah. On iTunes and all that. So just search for Geek Show Radio, you'll find us.
Yeah, anywhere. And shout out to Dr. John Cooper, who listened to the show and liked it enough. So
thank you, Coop. Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to date myself. I remember listening to you back before I got into broadcast radio, when you were doing middays on Pix. After Mason and Sheehan.
One of the people in our building just turned 30 years old, and in the card that went around to everybody, Coop wrote in it, "Congratulations on turning 30 years old. I've been in this business for 30 years." So when she was a baby, he was just getting his start.
Wow.
Pretty crazy.
That is crazy. A lot of the people that I used to listen to growing up now, I mean, you don't really hear them on the air anymore. They've gone behind the scenes, like Coop. He's program director.
He's program director. He does middays on Pix.
Oh, he still does middays? Okay.
Yeah, and other than that, though, he's got so many hats that he wears. I barely see him. I mean, he's the one that I answer to, and if I can snag him for a few minutes. So it was lucky that I was able to let him listen to the Geek Show. He liked it enough and said, "Hey, throw it up on iHeartRadio." So.
That's cool. Thank you, Coop. We appreciate it. We really do.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and get into the show, and everybody that's listening on iHeart for the first time, you can kind of get a feel now for what we're going to be doing here, because this is it. This is the meat and potatoes. Oh yeah, and we also sometimes live stream on YouTube, so you can, if you follow us, you'll find out when we live stream. But let's get into it. So the big news, news that basically hit the geek entertainment world was that Lord and Miller, directors Lord and Miller, are now out over at Disney and Lucasfilm. They were doing the Star Wars, the Han Solo anthology movie, the standalone movie. They're out.
Yeah.
Creative differences.
Right, and it's kind of troublesome when you hear that, because I wasn't so sold on these guys doing the project anyway. I mean, they had done, the Lego movie, and they had been responsible for the 2021 Jump Street reboot. Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill.
Those are the guys?
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff. And I know that they've done some TV stuff. I think they worked on Last Man Standing on ABC.
Last Man, that was a good show, but still.
I don't know if they were the right guys for the job, but I mean, now we're never gonna know. Because if you had asked me about the Russo brothers, I would have never thought that they were going to do such a fantastic job with Winter Soldier or Civil War. And now they're taking on Infinity War. We're never going to get a chance to see it with these guys, but when it comes to Star Wars and when it comes to Marvel, these guys know what they want. And apparently after, things had started working on this movie, they had decided that this wasn't the Star Wars movie that they were hoping for, and they needed to move forward with it. And they're going to find somebody else to do the job now. Yeah. So my question is, now that you have Lord and Miller out, who's next in line? And you have a suggestion here.
No, he's actually been. These
are the talks.
No, he hasn't been. The talk is done. He was hired.
Oh, I didn't know he was already hired.
I believe.
Man, I have been off.
Everything that I've been reading, he has been hired. Ron Howard.
Wow.
Is now in charge of the Han Solo movie. So Opie from Mayberry. Yeah. Has got all this. He's an amazing actor, and he's also an amazing director.
I would argue that his directing is just so much better.
I know.
Than his acting. I mean, he hasn't done much acting.
Well, yeah,
recently
he hasn't done anything since Happy Days back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, he's done a few things here and there. Right. Return to Mayberry, I think, was the last thing he ever did.
I mean, if you want to just see, just judge Ron Howard's directing ability.
Oh God,
Apollo 13. Just watch Apollo 13.
Cocoon.
No, Cocoon too. Yeah. Cocoon too.
I mean, he did some amazing.
And American Graffiti. I think he did American Graffiti.
Oh yeah, he did do American, which was a George Lucas movie.
Right.
So,
there's the tie.
I think right there that is the. I really think Disney has gotten the best director that they can get for this project, and we even did a poll on our brand new Twitter account. Yeah. We did a poll.
Do we need a drum roll?
Yeah. What do you think of at Real Ron Howard taking over the director's chair for the Han Solo movie? # Star Wars. The options were he's going to nail it. I'm not so sure. I'm indifferent. And this has only been going for about 2 days, this poll, but
okay.
100% of the respondents say he's going to nail it. So that's only 2 votes.
How could he? I mean, how could he not nail it? This is probably like a huge. This is probably like a big dream for him. I mean, Star Wars. Ron Howard is in his 50s.
Yeah.
You know, so Star Wars came out fresh for him.
He was a teenager when it came out.
So that's like, I mean, he's been watching this and probably loving it for a long time.
Yeah.
First as a fan, then probably from a director's and actor's standpoint.
Right.
But I mean, this has got to be a really big dream for him. And if he's behind it, I can get behind it too, because Ron Howard has never, in my opinion, done anything that has been bad. So
yeah, I mean, this is. I'm ecstatic, really. I really am. I can't wait to see this now. I was already very happy to go see the Han Solo movie. I like that Disney is giving us a lot of Star Wars, which is great. I'm a little wary that of how much they're giving us.
Yeah.
That's my only other concern.
But I think they have a focus.
They do. I think they do have a focus, and it's not only besides making money, it's also giving the fans what they want.
Which I think is huge, because I almost feel like George Lucas kind of wanted that, but then also wanted to do the things that he always wanted to do when it came to Star Wars, when it came to the prequels.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted to do the stories that he wanted to tell, maybe not necessarily everything the fans wanted.
Right.
And I think that's what we have now going forward. Like, they know who they need to please.
Yes.
You know?
And the other thing too is, not to get on my high horse about the prequels, that George has always said from the beginning, these movies were made for the kids.
Right.
The only one that was really made for the adults was Rogue One. That's the only one that was made for the adults.
Well, I would say Episode 3. Episode 3 had a very adult.
It was a very adult.
Mature.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, when parents usually take their kids to the movies, they saw the first one. If you think about the aging progression in that, I think it was right on the mark, because it was PG. What was it? PG-13.
Yeah.
Or was it straight? No, it was a straight up PG. The others were PG-13, which I think PG-13 is lower than PG. A PG is higher.
No, well, PG-13. PG is parental guidance suggested.
Right.
So anybody could go see a PG, but PG-13.
Okay.
You have to be 13.
Yeah. So all right. So yeah. So
yep.
The other sequels were all PG. Revenge of the Sith Episode 3 was PG-13.
Right.
So if you think about it, when you brought your kids to the first prequel all the way up to the last one, that kind of fits in the age, because in the progression of ages when they're getting older. Yeah. So I thought the rating fit perfectly. So the whole story being much darker and actually seeing the fall of Anakin I thought it was right on. And a lot of people now are coming to my side on this. They don't think the prequels were as bad as they as everybody else was saying.
Well, I think you need them to tell the story. You especially need them to tell the story that they're telling now. They're not. I mean, they're certainly not as good as the originals.
Right.
I still the only one that I really just don't like and I just don't enjoy watching is Attack of the Clones. I mean, that's the only one. There are parts of it that I enjoy. The start of the clones, Obi-Wan going and finding the clones and dealing with Jango Fett and that whole thing. But there's other parts of it that I just don't enjoy. But I mean, Episode 3. I really like that one.
You just don't like the sand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's coarse. It gets in everything.
Right.
Okay. Well, all right. But I love I mean, obviously Sith, in my opinion, is much better than the other prequels.
Yeah.
I enjoy the prequels just as much as the original 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, Jar Jar, he was annoying, but to me, tolerable enough to watch the movie. He was a kid's character. That's I mean, the movie was made for kids. I keep that in mind. I don't understand that.
I mean, the Gungans in general, they just weren't my cup of tea. But Episode 1 had so many things that I did like. I loved seeing this, I loved seeing the old Senate and everything, and how things were classier. It was just like a more dignified time, and it's almost like Obi-Wan said, a more dignified weapon for a more dignified time.
And look at I mean, and even in the design, Lucas had talked about this. In I forgot Empire. I forgot which one of the when it was one of the web shorts, I think, during the prequels and all that. He talked about this. You know, this is the Republic. This is everything is very artesian and you know, and very not really. He didn't say snooty or anything like that. But when you look at the Naboo ship, you know, that in episode 1 that they escaped on, very sleek lines, very artistic, very shiny, very avant-garde kind of stuff.
All their guards wearing conductor hats.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Exactly. So, but I think it all flowed in, you know, very, very nicely.
I mean, can we all just agree that we wouldn't mind seeing more of Qui-Gon Jinn?
I would
you know,
love it.
Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn. I mean, that guy. I mean, he was one of my favorite Jedis. You know?
I would love to see. I mean, obviously, you know, you can't make all these guys look the same because obviously they've aged. You know, 15, 20 years since those movies. But I think an animated version, I mean, Dave Filoni has proved that the animated version of Star Wars is just as compelling, just as good as the live action stuff. And we've seen that with Clone Wars, the Clone Wars show, and we've also seen it with Rebels.
It's like they have some growing pains that they go through, and I think the first seasons,
every show does.
But then they start making it for the fans, and that's when you really start appreciating it. And you can really, really dive into it and get into it.
And I've said this before in other episodes. I will say it again. Dave Filoni is the heir apparent to Lucas. Yeah, he is the new George Lucas. His cowboy hats. And his love of all sports teams in Pittsburgh, you know, and wolves, because that's his thing. He likes wolves.
It's just funny because, like, you can almost...
I know. Like, I don't know why I know this.
Yeah, you are. Are you stalking him? Do we have something else to talk about here?
Dave, I'm going to be in your freezer next week. Make sure you have some frozen bananas in there. I love those treats.
Then his feel of Star Wars that he does on the television shows, just it has that original saga feel to it, and that's I think what makes it feel so good to watch.
I mean, and he worked so closely with Lucas on Clone Wars, so that's what really, I mean, that's how he knows what he needs to. Plus, he was always, you know, he was already a big fan of the franchise, anyway. So. Yeah, but I mean, we've gotten way off on a tangent from Ron Howard and the Han Solo movie, but you kind of get where we're going at in regards to, you know, Disney does have the fans' heart foremost in their mind. They want to keep the fans happy. They know if they screw this up, that's the end of it.
That is, I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
like
Star Wars has.
You have to like it.
Star Wars has been a cultural phenomenon for 40 years.
Right.
And people like me, fans, you know, I saw it when I was 6. I saw the first movie when I was 6 years old, and I've been a fan ever since. You screw with me, you're screwing with a very huge fan base that, you know, they're the ones paying your, you know, they're the ones giving you like $1.5 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion a year in profits.
The thing that I don't want to see, and that, you know, maybe this is the direction they didn't want to go with, because there is a certain amount of humor and everything.
Oh, yeah.
That would go with a Han Solo film. It's just his personality, very sarcastic and whatnot. But what you don't want to see is that, you know, you don't want to see that too much.
Right.
You know, and I think maybe that's possibly what they saw. I mean, like I said, they did a lot of comedy. That was their background, was comedy.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd be better for inserting humor here or there, but if that's not the kind of picture that, you know, but Disney and Lucasfilm want to see.
Right.
I mean, they know what they want to see.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, they know what Star Wars is. They know what we want. And if it's not in line with that, you know what? I have full faith that they have moved in the right direction with this.
So, I mean, I think we both agree Ron Howard good for the new Han Solo movie. Lord and Miller out. Okay, whatever. Go do your own thing. Yeah, Lego Movie was great.
Go make Lego Movie was
go make Lego Movie
fantastic.
2.
Yeah,
go make Lego Movie 2. We'll go see that.
I still haven't seen Lego Batman.
I haven't seen it yet. I want to. I don't know. You know, but whatever.
I hear it's good.
That's what I hear too. So all right, well, we'll leave that for another episode.
Our late Lego Batman review.
Our late,
That's what
very late Lego.
Yeah.
We're so poor we have to wait
Listen,
till it comes out on video.
I swear I didn't see the Lego movie until a year or year and a half or two after it had already come out. So
I think we took. Did we take Terry for that one? I think we took Terry for that one. 'Cause she was big into Lego, so we took her, and then she loved it. It was a great movie. It was fun. Okay, so the next. Should we stick with the whole Marvel?
Yeah, why don't we stick with?
Let's stick with the Marvel run because that's what we got going on.
Yeah.
So the next one, the next thing we were going to talk about was the Spider-Verse.
Right. Sony's
got this idea for Spider-Verse. You know more about this. You've been following this more because I've been very disillusioned since Sony brought out, the Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield and I mean it's just that ending with the Rhino and everything. It's just bad.
I mean that's all gone now and everything has shifted to Tom Holland. What we saw with his introduction in Civil War, and of course now we're just a week or so away from Spider-Man: Homecoming hitting theaters on July 7th.
Yep.
So that looks more promising to me than some of the other Spider-Man films. But I will say that the Tobey Maguire first two movies that he made with Spider-Man back in the day, those are two of my favorite movies.
Yeah, those two were I still like them.
Spider-Man 2 is fantastic.
Spider-Man 2 was awesome, and when they came out with the version 2.5 on DVD with the extra long Doc Ock fight scene on the subway and all of that, I bought that.
Oh, it's so good.
It was. I already had Spider-Man 2. I bought Spider-Man 2.5, and I got a great deal on it. I think I got it for like $3,
right?
Because that was when Google was starting up their page. So I grabbed it. Why not? But yeah, that was a great movie. Tobey Maguire, honestly, I don't think he's as good as Tom Holland.
Okay.
I really don't. I think Tom Holland has nailed the character.
Well, he's nailed very young Spider-Man, which is, that's where you want him to start.
Yeah.
And they tried with Tobey, but they aged him up for the second one, and that was it. That's all we had for high school was one movie. Yeah. Whereas I think he has to be in high school for a longer period of time.
Yeah, because a lot of his early adventures started in high school, and I think they should keep it like that.
Absolutely.
So that was perfectly fine. But now we've got this Spider-Verse.
Right.
So now we're talking stuff like Venom.
Right.
Kraven. Mysterio,
right?
All of that kind of stuff you'd think you'd see in a standalone Spider-Man movie,
right? But
they're talking about
themselves.
Yeah.
So Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal were doing press for Spider-Man: Homecoming,
right?
And they started asking him about this Spider-Verse stuff because I guess I don't know if it's official or not, but I guess Tom Hardy is really, really in the running for Venom, and that could be official. It could be Tom Hardy is definitely going to be Venom.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. And now they're saying that Carnage is going to be in this Venom standalone movie. However, we haven't even been introduced to Venom in this new Spider-Man world that is connected to the MCU.
So so what? I mean, I don't get what Sony's trying to do here.
Well, here's the thing. So Amy Pascal kind of went rogue. And she said that everything that you see about Tom Holland and Spider-Man is something that them and Marvel are trying to introduce. Okay, so they're introducing this Tom Holland Spider-Man Homecoming, and then everything else is within that universe, but not necessarily 100% going to be connected to what's happening in the MCU. So it's within this Spider-Man shared universe that Marvel and Sony have.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily going to contain anything that has to do with the MCU, not even Spider-Man. So that has a lot of people scratching their heads because I don't think you can't have Venom without Spider-Man. You certainly can't have Carnage without Venom first being a antagonist for Spider-Man.
Exactly.
You can't just jump into it and have Carnage be in a Venom movie, and what Venom just somehow exists. Like, I don't understand the direction.
Where's the story? I mean, what? Well, here's the thing. This is a theory I've had, and I wanted to run this by you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this holds water, but I think it does. So, we've got. Have you? Let me ask you this: have you seen the little mini? I don't know what you want to go. It's just a little short video of say Iron Man, Tom Holland, and was it Mark Ruffalo or somebody else? But they're on the set of Infinity War, and they're just talking about the movie and coming together and being fans of all that and everything. And you notice that everybody else is kind of in their costume or in the elements of their costume, because some of it is CG and all that.
Yeah.
But Tom Holland mysteriously is in gloves and a jacket.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, they actually go out into space to fight Thanos in this.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the symbiote is from.
I mean, maybe you're right.
I'm thinking that's how they're going to introduce the symbiote storyline. It's
very possible.
It's either going to be, and he's either going to be, that's how they're going to bring in the symbiote for. They're going to have the symbiote as the villain for the standalone Spider-Man movie that they're going to do. The next one they're going to do for from Homecoming. Or they're, this is setting up the whole Venom thing that they could do.
It's not bad.
Then they're not really. Then I just don't get it.
I mean, there is no.
But it's a theory.
It's a good theory, because you have to introduce the symbiote. It comes from space, and the only space that we know that's within the MCU right now has to do with Thanos, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and the first Avengers movie, where the Chitauri came from space.
Right.
So that's what we know of space in that world. If you're going to introduce Venom it's got to come from that. It's not a bad idea that maybe Thanos is who introduces this thing. So we could see what happens with that. But I'm just really confused by it, because it's not. They're not even going to feature Spider-Man in these, but somehow it's going to be connected to Spider-Man, and it's somehow going to be connected to the MCU, but not directly connected. Kind of like how everything that's currently going on Marvel television is connected to the MCU, but not necessarily have an effect on the MCU.
Yeah.
So that's just, I think Sony sees cha-ching, because because Marvel finally, with the shared property of being able to write Spider-Man the way they wanted to, finally has it right. So I think that's a lot to do with it. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's a good theory, though.
Yeah,
they just want to cash in.
Yeah. I mean, Sony has been doing so bad with their movies in regards to, Spider-Man. I mean, and everybody thought that, Sony would never go for the deal that we have now. And then there was the Sony hack, and then we found out that, they were actually talking.
Right.
And then they kept saying, no, nothing's going on. Bull.
Right.
We knew it was going on.
Right.
Come on, we're not that dumb. So now, I mean, and I'm just kind of hoping that, Fox sees the same kind of thing. I mean, they got a little extra taste with X-Men.
Yeah.
Days of Future Past and First Class and all that kind of stuff. But now I'm hoping that because Apocalypse didn't do too hot, but Logan did really
well. I mean,
that was
Logan was brilliant. I mean, Logan was different than anything that you have seen. That was a great film.
That was awesome, man.
Just such a great movie.
I mean, I swear to God, I was about ready to squirt tears at the end, man.
So good. I mean, Logan was phenomenal. I mean, Logan is on the level of Deadpool as far as what Fox did, and they did it correctly.
Yes.
I mean, and if you look at this in a way, as I was trying to figure out Logan, and the timeline and how everything fit in.
Yeah.
So Hugh Jackman wakes up at the end of Days of Future Past, right? He's back in the X-Mansion. Everybody's there. Everybody's having a good time. Everything seems right, because technically the events of Logan are only a few years after that happens. But apparently that is a different timeline. That is the original X-Men timeline being put back together, and Logan is on a different timeline. Because there's two timelines, and whatever happened with Logan is on a different timeline than that.
So you're saying it's on the same timeline as X3, or the?
I think it's on the same. No, I think that's the original X-Men timeline.
So
this is on the X-Men timeline that happened because of what happened in Days of Future Past, I think.
Okay.
So on the new X-Men timeline, that Apocalypse is on.
Yeah.
Because the other one is, though, it's basically finished. So I think that Logan is on a separate timeline.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. All I know is that it was a perfect perfect send-off for Hugh Jackman.
Yep.
And I'm really concerned at this point with the X-Men as a movie franchise. They're going Dark Phoenix. I don't think it's the time to do it because we've barely been introduced to this new Jean Grey that Sophie Turner has played.
Yes.
Okay? She played her as a supporting character in X-Men Apocalypse. She was not a focus. So I don't know how she's going to all of a sudden become this focus when you do a Dark Phoenix saga, which is like the quintessential X-Men saga.
Yep.
That is the X-Men story. If you want to read an X-Men story, it is just so good. It is like one of the best eras of X-Men you can get. That's why they're diving into it. Yep. But I just don't think it's the right time. And now I'm seeing that they might bring Dazzler into it, and we were talking about that off the air. We were talking about that before we started. That Dazzler was more of an 80s. She should have been in Apocalypse, right? In some way.
Because that's technically she was. I mean, they should. Well, but she didn't even make it into the final.
Well, it was like the cut scene.
Yeah, it was one of the cut scenes
from the mall.
From the mall, because they did a whole big series of scenes from the mall where you're seeing Scott and Jean and Kurt and Jubilee. That was the other thing too.
Jubilee.
We got Jubilee, and they freaking took her out.
I'm gonna quote Honest Trailers here for a minute. Like the guys over at Screen Junkies, stop trying to make Jubilee a thing. Just stop.
I'm sorry. I liked Jubilee. I was there when they introduced her. I think she's a really nice character, but I would have liked to have seen her gotten a little screen time. I would have cared less in the rest of the movies. I mean, but just to show, yep, here she is.
Right.
We can do it. I mean, they did it in the TV one.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I found it's on YouTube. I'll find it.
Oh, you're talking about Generation X?
Generation X, yeah.
Ugh.
I know, it was terrible.
That was so bad.
It was terrible. The guy they had playing Banshee was, oh, God.
Was his name even Banshee in it?
Yes, it was Banshee.
I feel like there was a whole big deal. That was one of the things I think that really got Marvel ticked off, was that they made this television show. This is a new television show coming out that Bryan Singer is doing. It looks like a joke, by the way. The Gifted, which is supposed to be a take on the X-Men, but it's in the future, and like mutants are now suddenly reappearing after years of not being around. It looks terrible. It looks like a teenage ABC Family show, Pretty Little Liars garbage.
This should serve as a warning to every other comic book creator, artist, writer, company out there that is shopping their IP to the Hollywood studios. Don't effing do it.
And it's stupid because Bryan Singer knows these characters. Bryan Singer has done really good things with them. He has done great work. X-Men, X2, First Class, Days of Future Past.
Yes, he's proven
it. I don't know, he somehow lost his vision when it came to Apocalypse. He's not doing the Dark Phoenix, and now he's doing this Gifted show, and it just looks absolutely terrible.
I think it has to do with what's her name over there at Sony. I think.
Well, this is Fox.
Oh, this is Fox, right?
This is Fox.
Yeah,
but still, it's
somebody
Fox.
Well, either way, Fox is getting their fingers into everything. They haven't learned their lesson from Fantastic Four, and all the other X-Men. I mean, they're basically shooting blind. And and it's not going to work.
It goes back to what we were saying about Star Wars. They know what the fans want. They know the vision that they need to do. That is exactly the teams that worked on Deadpool and the teams that worked on Logan knew. They knew what the fans wanted. That is who that movie was made for.
Right.
So, there you have it.
There you have it. So, whether or not that's going to come about, who knows?
Right.
We'll see. But, with between Spider-Man and with now this X-Men thing. I mean, Sony's kind of gotten an idea.
Yeah.
They learned. I think Sony learned their lesson for the most part because they did sign over to Marvel. Some of they gave Marvel.
Well, they knew what they needed to make the character work.
Yes,
and they knew that they couldn't do it.
They obviously knew that they where they were going. And Fox should be doing the same thing. They should be going to Marvel. There is no shame in SWAT, what pride do you have left? You've had crappy movies.
Right.
Just go back to Marvel and say, all right, let's knock out a deal here where we can do like what you guys were doing with Sony in regards to Spider-Man. We don't have to have, they don't have to necessarily have the X-Men in any of the MCU movies.
Right, but let's get the writers involved.
Let's get Marvel back into the game here with this, because obviously they're not doing it right on their own.
I mean, in the comics right now, they've got some pretty strong stuff with Marvel in the comics. They've got the 2 lines out now with X-Men, X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue. One team focuses on the classic team, another team focuses on the newer X-Men. And I think that that's really cool, and they're doing a good job with it.
And the comic book X-Men never really were that integrated into the Marvel universe. They were kind of in their own separate universe, but you'd see Spider-Man or Iron Man or somebody pop in every now and then.
Every now and then. The thing that always got me about X-Men, which is why I think the X-Men kind of always should have lived in their own universe, is like the same group of heroes, which is the Avengers, which is made up of extraordinary people with abilities and stuff, is celebrated as heroes, and everybody thinks they're great and everything. Captain America's fantastic. That same society doesn't like mutants.
Yeah.
Which are doing the same thing about saving the world and being heroes and things like that.
Yeah, that was kind of a little... That was very... Yeah, it didn't really make as much sense. But now you're starting to... But now a lot of... I mean, you're starting to kind of see that now in the movies where they're you know...
People aren't as tolerant.
Yeah, they're just not as tolerant, and they're just kind of starting to project those prejudices. I mean, Marvel's doing what they've always done with their comic books. They're taking real world issues and bringing them to the characters in their comic books and playing out those stories and trying to give everybody a message. Send a message that, you know, this is not okay, this is okay, what are you doing, that kind of thing. I mean, when you think about everything that's going on in regards to, you know, the current political climate, and just with, you know, with ISIS and everything else, I mean, that's the, you know, that's what Marvel was always doing, having these fantastic characters but dealing with real world problems. Why do you think Peter Parker was always broke? He was a college student.
That
was his thing. Yes, they got it. And DC now is starting to come into that. I mean, look at all the times they've relaunched, and each time they've relaunched, they've had this undergoing thing. You know, you got Cadmus, you got, you know, all these other organizations that are, you know, saying, you know, Superman is bad, metahumans are bad, they're going to take over, they're going to kill us all, you know, aliens are bad. You know, it's the same kind of thing that you know, that Marvel was throwing out there, the same kind of stories in that, but still different characters. The message is still the same.
Exactly.
So,
should we move over to the TV side of things?
Yeah, I don't. So, kicking over to DC now.
Yeah, we don't really have anything for Marvel except for Defenders is out soon, and I'm excited for
August.
that.
Yeah, baby.
That's very
soon.
Let's
go for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, DC. They recently announced Berlanti and was it what's the other guy's name? Starts with a G.
Guggenheim?
Guggenheim, I think it is. Yeah, I think it's Guggenheim. They just did their first official meeting for doing the another crossover event for DC television. So it's going to be a 4-episode. They're saying it's going to include Flash, the Legends, Arrow, and I'm guessing Supergirl, which is the only other, you know, which is the 4th show. And then they're also saying outright, no Black Lightning right now.
See, now, I watched the trailer for Black Lightning. I think it looks like a really awesome show, but from everything that I'm seeing about it is that it's not going to be involved in this CW world at all. But that's the same thing that they had said initially about Supergirl.
Yeah, and then so we're thinking another multiverse, another Earth.
I mean, I hope not. I hope that he's involved in the same world as these guys, and maybe because he obviously it's different. He's a retired superhero, not superhero, retired kind of vigilante.
Yeah,
and he's coming back out of it now that his kids are older, and he's, you know, trying to help with a gang problem in his city. And I think that it's really going to be a good show, but I think that they're really going to miss out if it's not included in it. I'm not saying that you need to have Barry Allen and Oliver Queen show up and give this guy a pep talk, but it would be cool if he could be involved with something that's going on. You know?
And we see him at that Star Labs facility that looks suspiciously like the Hall of Justice from Super Friends.
Which is cool. Well, I mean, wasn't Black Lightning was a big part of Super Friends, was he not? Or
yeah,
not?
He was, but he had that unitard thing with the boots, with the little elf boots, and that was just, oh, God, that was a terrible costume.
I think it's going to be a good show because it's unique, different. It's taking a really deep-cut character and giving him some new life, and I'm just all about that.
And isn't there some connection with Black Lightning and Static Shock? I thought there was like he was a mentor to Static Shock or something like that.
Something like that.
I know that in the cartoons, in the animated, it was more Batman than
right. Well, because I think like in the animated world, that's who
we didn't see.
Yeah,
we didn't see Black Lightning really in the Justice League animated show.
Nope.
Or anything like that, but we did see Static, which was kind of cool, because he was this separate one. But they kind of fused all that together, which was really nice. But I really hope they find a way of bringing Black Lightning into this,
right?
Just because he's a cool character, and he's one of those ones that really didn't get a lot of, I mean, kind of like. Not as high profile as Wonder Woman, obviously. But still, I mean, I think he deserves his own thing too.
If they're doing this 4-episode crossover, the last one involved the alien invasion.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what other one it could be.
What could it be? What could we see that needs 4 people or something? Because everything is kind of open-ended. Maybe they're going to do a crossover to try and get Barry out of the Speed Force, because that's where he ended up at the end of this most recent season of Flash.
And they said that this is gonna start in October, whereas the last one was like in later on in the season.
Right.
So that's a good.
They may kick it off.
Theory.
Kick it off with a crossover event, because you're gonna need all hands on deck to try and get one of your founding father heroes out of this trouble that he went into.
That would be a cool way to kick off season. Was it season 4 of Flash now, or season 3 of Flash?
Season 1 dealt with Thawne.
Season 2 was Zoom.
Season 3 was this one. So season 4. So
it's a good way to start off season 4.
I feel like I've been watching The Flash for a very long time.
I know, but it's a good show.
Yeah.
I caught my oldest daughter watching it on Netflix. So
it's a great show, and it's a good show that you can, even if you're not familiar with the character, you can love it. Like I said, I mean, I say it all the time. My wife loves The Flash.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Kim to watch. And she loves the Marvel movies. She loves the action and everything. I'm like, this is just like the Marvels, except
just weekly.
It's weekly.
Yeah,
but no go.
Oh
well, what are you gonna do? But yeah. So I mean, the 4-episode crossover is going to be happening earlier rather than later in the upcoming seasons, and hopefully, that sounds like a good theory that they're going to start. They'll start it with either Legends or Arrow or Supergirl, and then Flash will be like the last one where they finally get them back.
I can't remember how this last season of Legends ended. I don't remember.
I have yet to watch it.
Okay, I don't remember how that one ended. Arrow was pretty dramatic.
Yeah. Kaboom.
Flash was pretty dramatic, and Supergirl, I don't remember how Supergirl ended either.
Supergirl was I think Supergirl was more. It wasn't as dramatic, but it was more of Kara, Mon-El was gone, and it was just.
Oh, she had to send him away, right?
She had to send him away, and it was one of those tearjerker type of ones.
Yeah.
Tearjerker endings, not like a super cliffhanger ending like you got with all the others.
Especially Arrow.
Well, with Flash was more of a tearjerker kind of thing too, but yeah, Arrow was definitely big cliffhanger.
Please, if you're listening to me, Greg Berlanti, I would like involved in this crossover this time.
Yeah.
Please get Manu Bennett back as Deathstroke, because he is fantastic.
Yes.
And can we get Superman involved in it as well as John Jones?
Let's bring
the
them
Martian
both.
Manhunter.
Let's bring them in. Let's make it a true. And this is what I've always said. I've been saying this in past episodes, that the TV shows are doing way better than the DC movies, and that they should just basically knock this crap off where they say you can't have this, you can't have this, you can't have this because of the movies. That's BS, because you gave us Superman and Supergirl.
Yeah.
Just give us those guys.
Yeah.
Give us an awesome Justice League crossover. Full on Justice League.
On.
Bring Bruce Wayne from another multiverse.
Just get Ben Affleck to do it.
I don't think they're going to do that.
Come on.
But just get somebody else to do it.
Right.
Bring in Bruce Wayne, Batman. So we have Batman, Superman, we have Arrow, we have Flash. Get somebody for Wonder Woman. I guarantee you, the fans know the difference between the TV and the movie characters.
Yeah.
You know, there's not going to be any confusion. There is already no confusion between the TV and all that because there's nothing there. What I want to see, what I really want to see on Arrow is I want to finally see, we've seen hints of it with Ferris Air and all that. I want to see Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
Or give me Jon Stewart.
Somebody. I mean,
Or
there's got to be a Green Lantern.
Give me somebody with Guy Gardner. I don't care. I want to see Guy Gardner get punched in the face, though, by Batman.
Dude, Guy Gardner and Kyle Rayner together as Green Lantern teams.
That would be kind of cool. I mean, but still, I want them to bring in a Bruce Wayne, you know, Batman onto the TV shows, and if they're going to have Guy Gardner and Kyle Rayner, or Guy Gardner and one of the others, I still have to see Batman just punch Guy Gardner in the face.
Right.
I got to see that because that was the funniest scene I've ever seen in a comic book. You know, that was just, it was awesome.
Yeah.
One punch. It was awesome. All right, but that's my thing. But,
okay.
But yeah, let's have Justice League on television. Why not?
I mean, they can. They did Justice Society and whatnot.
Yeah,
we
got Hawkman.
Right.
I mean, we could bring him back or something.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, wait a minute. I'm thinking Smallville. Why am I thinking Smallville?
Well, I mean, we had
Michael
Hawkman.
Shanks.
We had Hawkman for a little bit on Legends.
Yeah.
And we had Hawkgirl for a little bit on Legends.
Bring him, do something. I mean, you're playing with time.
Yeah.
Do it. All right. I don't really have anything else.
No, I think that about covers it. Until I think next thing we do will have to be see if we can't somehow see Spider-Man: Homecoming. But I got to tell you, I don't know if I'm gonna get to the theater to see it. I hate to be a bad fan, but I'm dealing with some serious Spider-Man fatigue.
Uh-oh.
And
why? You've been reading the comics?
No, I just like the last few Spider-Mans have been a letdown. And yes, I liked him in Civil War, but I just don't know if I want to see another Spider-Man movie.
You know me, I'm the optimist. I gotta go, and I've already started laying the groundwork with Kim, my wife, for going to see it for like a date night thing.
Right.
So.
Well, Spider-Man's your guy, and it fits right in with what she likes about going. You know,
yeah.
You got the Robert Downey Jr. tie-in.
Yeah, you got RDJ in there. You're gonna have Tom Holland, which is awesome, and you know, and Michael Keaton. Mm-hmm. You know, as Vulture.
Yeah. That's
going to be kind of cool.
It's going to be an interesting concept. You got these guys that are using the Chitauri tech.
Yeah.
As, you know, using it against them. So that should be interesting.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll see it eventually. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to, if I'm going to run out and see it.
I think you should.
We'll see.
All right. But I think that's pretty much it. That's everything that we've got on our list.
We ran down the list.
We've gone through it all.
And remember, you can find us now on the iHeartRadio app.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, make sure download the iHeartRadio app.
Yeah.
In the Google Play Store,
yeah.
iTunes. I don't know how Windows Phone works, but I don't even think they make Windows phones anymore. So who cares?
I think they all use Google Play at this point.
Everybody, yeah. So don't worry about it. But anyway, get the iHeart app. Do look for us and subscribe. We'd love for you to be regular subscribers to the show. And also remember, we've got our new Twitter, which is Geek Show Radio. We've got our new Facebook page, and I'm just gonna say it, coming soon, a YouTube page where you can find all these episodes that we live stream. So
bam.
Yeah, bam. So go for it, subscribe, listen, and we will catch you later. Stay geeky. Vamos, gatos!